Howdy peeps, welcome back to the channel, and what will be the first part in a continuing build series, the same as I've done with the SU-76. This time I thought I'd do a hairy plane, and we have an Eduard Mark 8 Spitfire in 48 scale, and this is kit number 84139 if anyone was interested. Now this is a weekend edition. I was going to do a Profi pack with all the PE that comes in it, but the only Profi pack that I have is a BF109, and Paul Bretland at ISM is doing a build series on that, so I thought best avoid doing the same thing, because at least then mine won't look utterly pants in comparison, which it will be, but hey ho, we shall find out. Now I don't think I've even had a look in the box of this yet. You can see it's been on the shelf a while because there's quite a bit of dust on it. So what do we get in the box? Bunch of sprues, clear parts on a circular sprue. Looks like 4 sprues. Instructions, decals, and that's about it, I think. Unless there's anything under the decals. No, just the stencils for the decals. Right. So, let's make a start, shall we? And there's going to be a few rustling noises as we get the bags open. But first thing we'll do is put my mat straight and get the instructions. Now, if you're not familiar with Eduard instructions, they're pretty good. Show everything you need to see, and let's be honest, it's a Spitfire, so it's not overly complex. Colour callouts are in Mr. Colour, but easily convertible to other things if you don't use those. The only slight downside for leaving them in shot is that they are glossy, so they might cause some white out of the camera, especially if I put the overhead light on. So let's make a start. Let's pop the overhead light on as well to give it a little more light, and dig out the first sprue, which is sprue F. This is going to be one of the larger ones. Unfortunately we only have 2 bags of sprues. Rustle, rustle, rip, rip. At least we don't have any staples to deal with. As we remove them from the bag, check there's nothing left behind in the bag before we throw it in the bin, or in the area currently known as the bin at the moment. And that's sprue F, which is the one we want first. Where's my choppers? There we go. Underneath the pile of paintbrushes and other tools, so we want F1, which I'm guessing is going to be that one. Ooh, flimsy sprue. We'll chop off the little extra sprue gate. And we start at the front of the diagram, we want 19. Oh. 41. 26. Tiny little part. Oh, helps so you don't miss the sprue gate with the snippers. 42. And 28. Right. Now My method of building planes isn't necessarily the same as everyone else's method of building planes. I tend to try and keep it simple. By which I mean I don't have lots of little sub-assemblies. I don't leave loads of bits off until it's all painted. I tend to, much the same as I do with an armour kit, just stick it all together and see how it goes. But hey, I can just show you the way I do it. I can't show you another way because that's not the way I do it. And anyway, I'm fairly certain most of the people who are watching these already know most of this kind of stuff anyway, so it's more just having some random waffling and rambling on in the background while you actually do some modelling, or as a cure for insomnia, which I'm pretty sure my videos would qualify as. Oh, where'd the sprue gate? This is the problem when you get really teeny tiny bits. Finding out where the sprue gate was. There it is. Now, a lot of people pay a lot of attention to the cockpits on their planes, and I'm not going to knock someone for doing that. It is, after all, the focal point of the plane. Once you've seen the plane, you look at the cockpit. But with a lot of planes, you can't really see much inside the cockpit. It's generally just like the seat and the instrument panel, and that will be pretty much it. Especially in the smaller scales like 48th or 72, by the time you've got the canopy on there, you can't really see a thing. So then we'll just pop these on where they go. And when the natural stickiness and oils on your fingers are actually grippy enough, as it were, to hold on to the part rather than the glue holding it. That way around, I think. Looks a bit more suitable. There we are. The little wheel goes there. And these are the really dangerous parts to pick up with tweezers. Anything circular has a tendency to want to spring off into the distance. There's my stomach rumbling. I wouldn't have thought I had a good meal yesterday. Right, that way up, I think. Yep. So that's that part put together. Now we want F82 and 18, which is the back of the cockpit, or where the seat attaches to. And it's telling us to fill a hole, which I can't actually see at the moment. We shall have a look closely. And 18 is that one. Oh. Oh. There we go. Ooh. So just sand these up. Try and do everything in the camera shot might help. It's one of the things I have a tendency to want to bring things towards me. So I'll sit here and sand like this, but then you don't get to see anything. So we shall just stretch my leggies out. Well, we do have a bit of a seam line around this part, so we'll get rid of that while we're at it. I'll say it's one of those things when it comes to cockpits and fuselage fittings. Sometimes you can find even something as simple as a slight seam line left around a part of the cockpit assembly can actually cause the fuselage to not want to close up. And so it's just a case of you clean it up and then hope you don't get any issues later in the build. And that is one point where I do dry fit, just to make sure things are going to actually fit in. Right, well, it's telling us to fill bring it up so you can see it. It's telling us to fill that teeny little hole locating point in the top there. So time to grab some filler. Oh, everything's going to fall over. Carnage. Oh no, we got it. My trusty little tube of, let's grab a new one so you can actually see what it looks like unscrunched up. Just the viii plastic putty, well, it's just a water based filler. For little things like this it's absolutely fine. For larger gaps like fuselage seams or anything like that, it's not really up to the job. It's a bit delicate. Oh, come on. And the bottle's blocked a bit. There we go. So, oh dear, excusez-moi. Now, using my clay shaper again, or the little silicone tipped brush. You can use a dampened cotton wool bud as well, or Q-tip, or anything you want really, but I find that does a superb job. You just make sure you wipe it all off. And because of the way we've done it, other than waiting for it to dry, job done, hole filled. Just got to make sure we don't put our hands in it yet. Although it's on the back, so whether it's actually going to be visible or not is another matter. Oh, I can feel there's going to be another big stomach rumble coming along soon. Here we go. Just make sure that's stuck down in as many places as possible. There we are. That's that bit. then it's F7, 27 and 25. So it's looking like we might actually end up doing some painting already. Oh, there you go, rumble, rumble, gurgle. Let's just clean this up first before we hunt for the other bits. So this sander's starting to get a bit worn out now, but still works. It has done quite a few models, to be fair to it though, so as anyone familiar with my building would know, I tend to build quite a lot and fairly rapidly, so I do tend to give a kind of an accelerated wear test on tools. What might last one person or some people a year maybe, I might get through in a couple of months. And I've probably made, I don't know, at least half a dozen kits with this sander using this one, so you know, and not all been small low parts count kits either. They've been yes, there's been some high parts count tanks and stuff in there. Position. Get in position properly, you gimp. There we go, that's got it. Right. Now this glues into what looks like just in front of the second spar there. See, so it was a good thing we did get rid of the seam line, because that would have interfered with the fit. I just run a bit of glue down there to hold it in place. I'll make a decent joint. Here we are. And that looks to be around about 90 degrees. Now what I'll end up here with is several little sub-assemblies that will all need to be painted separately before final assembly. So for example, I will put together the control stick, I'll put together whatever that is and the seat, and then once I've got all the various little parts of the cockpit put together, I'll paint them all, rather than doing one bit at a time. But hey, a 3-part control stick, that's definitely detailed. Okay, so pop that over there so it doesn't. Ooh, very strange noises coming out of my belly now. I'm going to have something seriously hefty to eat tonight. go. This is just does that need cleaning up? Yeah, not really, but I'll be good, and as it is one of the more visible parts of the cockpit. Now cleaning this up, I will actually use my knife rather than trying to sand this off. I'll just nip it off with my knife carefully. And again, do as I say, not as I do. Cut towards your chum, not your thumb. So cut away from yourself if you can. Sometimes you have to cut towards yourself, it's just a lot easier or a lot more comfortable, but always pays to be careful when you can be. Especially if you're as clumsy as me. Right. Let's get this stuck together. We might actually end up with painting in like the second episode of this. Also trying to keep the shadows from my massive great dome out of the way. This is one of those that's going to be... Ooh. Stand up. So, and we go to sub-assembly B. I'm just keeping an eye on the time here as I go, so I don't get carried away and end up filming for about an hour and a half or something silly like that. So we want 60, 61, 16, and 17. There we go. Can't necessarily get to that one with the sander, so we'll have to where'd it go, there it is. Nope, not that one, that one. Right, because this is a small sorry, put my teeth back in. Because this is a small gap, we can't get the sander in there. You can either use a knife, or in this case I'll just use my little needle file, which I've got just a pack of cheapies. They're only a few pounds, but I'm not looking for awesome files, just ones that do the job. And when you're filing plastic or polystyrene as it actually is, or resin, neither of which are particularly hard substances, you don't need diamond files or anything like that. Just a standard chunk of serrated metal will do the job. I've done that. There's that one next. There we go. Right. So that goes that way. Right. Right, let's get these the right way around, shall we? That one that end, that one that end. Right. Again, just add a bit more glue so we make sure we've got a decent joint that's going to hold. I'll probably need to break out a new bottle of Tamiya extra thin at some point fairly shortly. This one's getting a bit low. It's getting to that point where you don't get an awful lot on the brush. So somewhere around like that, and then that glues in the front. Stick and stay stuck. Near enough. Now the seat being made up of 4 parts. Now while I'm chopping these off, I'll run through an option. The kit comes with decals for the seat belts. Now what I will possibly, maybe, depend how I feel, I might actually make some out of tape and fuse wire. It's just another one of those little things I can show that some might not necessarily know. It's not tricky, it's just fiddly to do, especially in 48s, but as there's only 2 belts on this, I think, unless there are a couple coming over from the back. Yeah, there will be. It's not overly evil, and they do look far more realistic than just decal ones. Right, let's clean these up and get these stuck together, and that'll probably be it for this episode, I think. Which isn't a bad amount done. It's the thing with planes is once you get past the cockpit, they do tend to go together really rather quickly. And it's telling me to chop those off. Right. Whether it means flush or just to part way I think. So we just end up with a mounting point. I'll do some on this one as well. Right. So if I go a bit quiet while I'm doing the more fiddlier parts, sometimes I need to concentrate on what I'm doing. So we work on the assumption that it sits in there. Yep. Now there are two options for markings in this kit. One I believe is American with natural metal. The other is British. I think it was based in Borneo, in grey and green, which is the one we'll be doing. Simply because that means there's more to show when it comes to doing the paintwork. And it's got a shark mouth decal on it, and that's always a win. Right, and then that. No, don't tell me I've chopped too much off. Right, so that side goes in there, that side goes in there. Righty-ho. Not the strongest of joints, but hey ho. We'll add glue anywhere it touches, so or would if I had enough glue in the pot. Right, there we go. So for a first half hour, cool, we're up to 33. So we've got, I think, most of the main cockpit interior sub-assemblies put together. Next time we'll be painting them up and then assembling. So thanks for watching. The usual, give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, thumbs down if you didn't. If you really liked it, you can subscribe to the channel. I'll never say no to that. But enjoy your modelling. Thanks for watching. Rock on. Peace out. Bye bye.